Now, I want to begin by mentioning one of the most important and vital messages in your glass door dream, for its truth applies to the magical approach as well. That is, the dream was giving you an example of one of the main characteristics of what we will call the magical approach. The main issue was the relative ease with which you were able to enlarge the hole in the glass door. Ease is the key word. To the world of the intellect, a glass door must be considered solid, as it is in the world of physical senses. In other, quite as factual terms, indeed in the larger framework of facts, the door, of course, is not solid at all, as no objects are. Obviously, that is known to science. Science delegates the world of nature as the realm of exterior natural events. Its view of nature is therefore mechanistic. The natural self, however, like the rest of nature, possesses a rich dimension of inside psychological depth that science, because of its own definitions, cannot perceive. Telepathy and clairvoyance, for example, are a part of natural effects, but they belong to a nature so much more expansive than science's definitions that they've been made to appear as highly unnatural eccentricities of behavior, rather than as natural components of consciousness. It is also for that reason that they seem to fall outside of the realm of the sane. Such characteristics are, however, basic properties of the natural person. They do not appear very well under the auspices of the scientific method, because the scientific method is itself programmed to perceive only information that fits into its preconceived patterns. Such abilities appear to be unpredictable, discontinuous, only because you are so relatively unaware of what is actually quite constant psychological behavior. That is, such abilities operate so smoothly, so continuously, and with such ease, that you become aware of them only under certain conditions. You are aware of what seem to be isolated hints of odd characteristics. The intellect is basically able to handle many kinds of information and information systems. It is far more flexible than you presently allow it to be. Science perceived the spectacular complexity of exterior reality, but turned its sights completely away from any recognition, any at all, until it regarded subjectivity itself as a mere throwaway product, accidentally formed by a mindless matter. All of this applies to your situation, for I want you to thoroughly understand, intellectually and emotionally, the errors of current thought, so that you can see that our material is indeed providing you not only with creative material, but with a more factual presentation of the framework in which you have your existence. In modern times, then, the intellect was finally left with only one acceptable world view, with one set of assumptions, with only one main approach to reality and experience. The acceptable assumptions, to a large extent, ran directly contradictory to built-in biological, spiritual, and psychological assumptions that are a part of man's heritage. The intellect does try to order experience, to make sense out of perception, when it is enriched by having in its possession several world views, then it does an excellent job of merging those into meaningful patterns, of sorting information and sending it to the proper places, so to speak. It understands, for example, that clairvoyant material is a part of the personality's overall characteristics, so it is not afraid of perceiving it, and it is able to separate such information confusion from present physical sense perception. Orderliness, then, is one of its main characteristics. When it's given only one world view and only one group of assumptions, its orderly nature causes it to throw out all information that does not fit. It's almost forced to make an orderly picture, say like a jigsaw puzzle picture, while being denied half of the pieces. The intellect is not to blame. It does the best it can under those conditions. Now, in your dream, you are quite clearly seeing the threshold between physical reality and the magical dimension in which that physical reality has its source. You are being shown, or showing yourself, the difference in the rules or assumptions between the two. The dog's desire for food led him to walk magically through the door, for the desires of the natural creature are satisfied with an ease that has nothing to do with your ideas of work. What I'm getting at is the introduction of the concepts of a different kind of work. Very valuable, vital work that is performed at another level and in a different fashion. A prime example, of course, is the work done to keep each and every creature alive and breathing. The work done to keep the planets in their places. The work being done so that one evolutionist can meditate over his theories. Now in your dream, you got the feeling of that kind of work or action. It is the given power of the world, the given power of nature. It is the directed force of value fulfillment. In other terms, it is, of course, the energy of all that is. The trouble is that the rational view of life has separated man from a sense of his own power source. When he has a problem, the rational approach to its solution seems the only answer, and often, of course, it is no answer at all. The rational line of thought finds creativity highly disrupted. So in those terms, as highly gifted creative people, you would have encountered some difficulties in any case. It is time that you regarded such difficulties instead as challenges that are part of a creative adventure that you yourselves have chosen. You chose the adventure because it was the kind best suited for your own individual value fulfillment. In reconciling the many concepts and contradictions for yourselves, you also lead the way for many others. It would, again, help considerably if you thought of your work more as an adventure, an exciting, creative adventure, than of work in your old terms. The inner world, your desires, bring about their own fulfillment effortlessly. That inner world and the exterior one intersect and interweave. They only appear separate. In the physical world, time may have to elapse or whatever. Conditions may have to change or whatever, but the desire will bring about the proper results. The feeling of effortlessness is what is important. At a conscious level, of course, neither of you realized or wanted to realize the kind of complete repeal and overhaul that was implied by our sessions. And for some years you managed to hold many official views of reality along with the newer concepts, not ready to understand that an entire new way of thinking was involved. A new relationship of the individual with reality. So you tried out some new methods piecemeal here and there with good enough results. Of course, an entire reorientation is instead implied, And that entire reorientation will effortlessly bring about a new relationship with your body, with your life, with the adventures that you've embarked upon. You'll automatically get better because the framework will allow you to do so.